Alright, we finally got the big trailer for Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and this thing was pretty awesome. Well worth the wait. Got me very excited. Thank God they got rid of the song from the last one. I just got so tired of the yeah over and over and over. Plus I feel like the one feature here fit much better. But in any case, we saw a lot of cool stuff in here. Some people might say it's maybe showing a bit too much, but I don't really think so. I'll start off with the biggest thing in the trailer, both in terms of hype and literal size, Unicron. And man, this was quite a surprise. There have been rumors involving Unicron for a while now and mentioning him, but I really didn't expect to see him to the degree that it looks like we will be seeing him. I mean, he even has a voice actor confirmed. I like this design quite a bit. It's the planet form. I actually really like the idea of Unicron being Earth, you know, being the core that came from Transformers Prime and was featured in The Last Knight. But I feel like for a live action thing, you gotta do this. Just a scale of everything, like you gotta do the full on planet thing. And yeah, I'm really digging it. Hopefully he's pretty cool. Looks like they're kind of building up to him despite them seemingly featuring him a good bit. Also, what's this soul stone looking thing? Makes me interested to see what that is. We see a bit more with Noah and Mirage, and I really like that smooth transformation. Looks pretty good, and I'm liking more of Mirage. I liked his whole I thought we were boys thing, and I do think he'll be a fun character, and I'm really liking Pete Davidson's performance so far. We get a new line from Optimus, and man, I just gotta say, I love Peter Cullen, but I feel like you can just really hear his age now, unfortunately. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I feel like you could start to hear it in The Last Knight, and then you could hear it some in Bumblebee, and it's really the case here. Obviously, nothing against the man. He still sounds great. It's just you can definitely hear his age more now. I think the bit where Battletrap hooks on the Nightbird is super cool. That's a pretty neat idea. I love the teamwork there. And then Nightbird's transformation through the air, super cool. Love that. Love to see that sort of thing in these movies. We hear Air Razor speak, which is pretty cool. It's Michelle Yeoh doing the voice, and it does sound a bit odd. I've seen a lot of people say they don't like it. I don't mind it, but I do admit it is a bit odd. But she's looking great, which is really cool. Then getting to the next voice that we hear in this, there's Scourge, and I think it sounds good, but it's not what I was quite hoping for. You know, I do think that Peter Dinklage sounds fine, but I guess I was hoping for a bit more deeper Tyrion Lannister kind of voice, I guess. I feel like this is doing what a lot of people said happened with Hugo Weaving's voice as Megatron in the 2007 movie, where it's so altered and processed to a point where it's kind of hard to tell. I always disagree with that there because I could hear Hugo Weaving in that voice, but I do feel like it's a little iffy here with Peter Dinklage. I don't know. Obviously, this is only one line, one delivery. It's bound to change in the actual film. I'm sure I'll come out of that loving his performance and voice. Just right now, the voice is a bit iffy to me. We get a slightly extended look of Bumblebee being impaled by Scourge. Oh my god, is he gonna die or at least stay dead? Probably not. We see this cool lineup of characters, and we see that Wheeljack has the, I guess you could call them head fins. So maybe this will cause at least some of the people to shut the fuck up about the head design. Given this fandom, I doubt it, but hey, one can dream. We get the constantly memed Let Them Come scene again, although the shot is reversed compared to how it was in the last trailer. And then we get a really awesome one-take scene, and all of the hero characters are fighting off a bunch of Scorponoks and Freezers. Seeing the Scorponok army is pretty cool. Of course, who knows if they'll actually call them Scorponok or Scorponoks, but still, it's cool to see. RC's riding on Rhinox, which is cool. You see Cheetor running around, and of course she jumps and lands in front of Wheeljack. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff here. I really dig this. Very Avengers-esque. I love a good one take. Who knows if it's going to be even longer in the film itself, but this is a very cool way to have the trailer sort of end, even though we get one more scene of Mirage giving Noah something, and you kind of start to see it spread around his hand. And then it cuts to Bumblebee transforming in the battle, and what I assume is Noah in a sort of exosuit looking thing, which I think is pretty cool. Some people have noted that it looks like Kicker from Energon, which is interesting to say the least, but hey, the design of that character's armor wasn't the problem with that character. So yeah, you know, in case of what was shown off, there was some very cool stuff. Obviously, again, Unicron was a big surprise. Oh, one thing I didn't mention was you see Optimus walking through a bunch of buses, and going off some rumors that we've heard heard before, and we've seen art for this character. Apparently, this is going to be the scene with the character Transit, who is apparently the only Decepticon in the movie. Although the art labeled him as a Terrorcon, maybe that's going to be changed in the film itself. But there were early rumors and, leaks and whatnot that were saying that he was a Decepticon and that he is a bus. And we also heard that that scene was apparently cut, so I guess that's not the case if they're showing it in the trailer. Well, maybe that's not true. Plenty of stuff has been cut from trailers from many different movies in the past. Who knows? We'll see. The scene also looks like it'll be in the rain, and unless I'm just forgetting something, we didn't really have any scenes in the rain before in any of the live action movies, so that'll be a neat switch up. I mean, I know it's not anything super crazy, but hey, it's something kind of new. Now, like with the last trailer, one of the things that's been talked about to death with this thing is the CGI and everything. Kind of like with the last trailer, I really don't think the CGI is bad. Overall, things are a little bit more noticeable. So far for me, it seems kind of on par with some of the stuff that we saw in like Age of Extinction, because I don't think anything in Age of Extinction looks particularly bad, but I believe it's the weakest of the Michael Bay movies in terms of CGI. I've seen comments about, oh, the cinematography looks plain, or oh, everything just looks kind of gray like a lot of big blockbusters lately, and blah blah blah. I think the movie looks fine. I think there's a lot of cool shots, especially some of the ones we see with Unicron. I will admit it is a bit more bland than some of the Michael Bay stuff, but we've also been used to that for like 16 years just about. Although I have gone back and watched some of the trailers for those movies, and even in shots that you could tell were still being worked on, they still look pretty damn good. For better or worse though, the CGI is looking like it might not be as good as the previous movies, but I still think it looks fairly solid. I don't know. For me, I guess it's if the robots have a lot of screen time and whatnot, I don't really mind a bit of a downgrade. I'd prefer for the quality to stay the same and have more screen time and whatnot, but hey, it is what it is, I suppose. And then there's the whole reboot and prequel talk still, which I find kind of nuts, just because the other day there was stuff coming out with our old buddy Lorenzo, who was saying just more stuff, and there was even a magazine article talking about Optimus Prime's character arc in this. And one thing that's cracked me up that a lot of the Bay haters obviously latched onto was the whole thing of him acting like a robot with a character arc was both new and a surprise. Which it is a pretty funny quote, I will admit. But for me, one thing, I'd argue that Optimus Prime had character arcs in Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction, especially Age of Extinction. Maybe Dark of the Moon isn't exactly a character arc, but I do feel like just with everything going on with Sentinel Prime and his betrayal and whatnot, I feel like there was a decent bit there with Optimus. But still, definitely an Age of Extinction at the very least. But anyways, Lorenzo was talking about how this is going to kind of be the start of getting Optimus from 1994 to 2007, talking about the first Michael Bay movie. And of course, a lot of people latched on to that. But then you've got this trailer coming out, and of course, the biggest thing is the fact that Unicron is his own planet. He's not the core of the Earth as he is seen to be in The Last Knight. Of course, there are some ways around this. What if Unicron was eventually freed from the core of the Earth in The Last Knight and time traveled or crossed universes and whatnot? But you don't see the same horns that you saw coming out of the ground in The Last Knight, and it looks like he's going to be a good bit bigger than Earth. Or of course, maybe they'll just completely ignore that fact. Who knows? For better or worse, it's not the first time things have just been ignored. I'm still thinking that this is a reboot, and I feel like the Unicron thing kind of confirms it in a way. Like I said, there's some ways that you could kind of get around it. I love the Bay movies, but I really hope they don't go this route. Going alongside this though, I'll cover some other movie news. There were quite a few character posters done, including one for our boy Wheeljack, aka Pablo. And of course, a lot of people freaked out about it, but it's cool to finally see him along with the posters for the other characters. Then we got what I assume is going to sort of be the main poster for the movie, the kind of big group one. You see Unicron at the top, and I dig this one a lot, and it does kind of remind me of the main poster for the 1986 animated movie. So I think that's pretty neat, whether it's intentional or not. I feel like it kind of has to be intentional though. And then you got this one of Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal sort of facing off. I feel like the poster kind of gives off this vibe that they're enemies and they're gonna fight. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a little bit of tension between the Maximals and the Autobots at first, and some have noted these similarities with the Captain America Civil War poster as well. And then we got some new information from Stephen Caple Jr. from an interview, mostly just little things here and there, like how Cheetor's fast and stuff like that, and got a little spunk to him, and just talking a little bit about Air Razor and how Michelle Yeoh's playing her, how the Maximals are from their own planet. Talks a good bit about Mirage, just noting some cool stuff like why they chose that that Porsche and just how his character is going to be, and casting Pete Davidson as Mirage. And then he talks about how his first experience with Transformers was watching the 86 animated movie on VHS, and the first character that he saw was, of course, Unicron. And then how this is going to be the intro to all of that, and how it's going to kind of build up to Unicron, which I do think is the way to go. I've seen some complain that's a little too MCU-ish, the whole building up to the big villain, but I think it's a smart way to go personally. And then going off of that, we also have a voice actor confirmation for Unicron. Actor Coleman Domingo, and I really hope I'm saying that right, is going to be playing Unicron. I'm not familiar with him at all, but I've seen a good few people saying that his voice should be good for Unicron, so hey, that's pretty cool. And I really do think that this voice actor confirmation really does hint at Unicron having a decently sized role in this movie. It's just really cool to see that he'll have a bigger part than I think anybody really expected. So yeah, that's been me talking about the Transformers Rise of the Beasts trailer, as well as some news here and there. There's a lot of cool stuff here. I enjoyed watching it. I've also watched it probably at least 20 times or so, if not more. I've seen a good bit of reactions to it. Very exciting, man. I love the hype that these movies can bring. But tell me, what did you think of the trailer? What was your favorite moment from it? Where do you fall on the whole reboot or prequel thing now with the Unicron situation going on? Let me know down in the comments. As always, I want to give a big thanks to everyone for watching, and have a good one.